don't know. Huh?
Let's go.
People see me, but they just don't know.
Well, hey, neighbor. Thanks for stopping by. Well, hey, neighbor. Today was a great day for NBA Youngboy. This morning, he went to court in Utah where the judge granted him a $100,000 bond. Now, that means he's one step closer to being a free man, but he also has to still go in front of the judge in Baton Rouge to explain to that judge how he got caught up in all this mess in the first place while on house arrest. Okay? Now, I do have the video of NBA Youngboy walking into court, so you can take a look at NBA Youngboy and hear everything that happened inside court today.
All rise. Court for the First Judicial District of the State of Utah and for the County of Cass is now in session. The Honorable Judge Spencer D. Walk is presiding. You may be seated.
All right, good morning. Let's call the case of State of Utah versus Kentrell Deshaun Galden, case 241100468. Counsel, please state your names for the record.
Aaron Jossie for the state. Drew Finling and Zach Finling on behalf of Mr. Galden.
All right, we're here today for a preliminary hearing and a bail hearing. I've had the opportunity to meet with the attorneys in chambers, and it does appear that there has been some type of arrangement reached between the parties. Mr. Finling, would you like to go ahead and state that for the record, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, counsel for the state and myself have been in negotiation really since yesterday, but throughout this morning, and I've explained those negotiations to Mr. Galden. We are going to waive a preliminary hearing in this matter. In exchange for that, a bond will be set at $100,000. Mr. Galden will be able to use a commercial company to make that bond. That will be an aggregate bond covering everything in total, as contained in the charging instrument.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Finling. Mr. Keller, does that accurately represent the agreement that's been reached between the state and Mr. Galden?
Yes, it does, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Galden, have you had enough time to speak to your attorneys about this decision to waive your right to your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
All right. You understand that the standard at a preliminary hearing is a much lower burden of proof that the government would have to meet than at trial. So instead of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, it's a lower burden of proof, which is there a reasonable belief that a crime was committed by you? And the court has to view all the evidence that it would receive in a light most favorable to the government, to the prosecution. Understanding that legal standard and having had discussions with your attorneys, do you hereby waive your right to your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
All right. The court finds that Mr. Galden has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to his preliminary hearing. He will be bound over for trial on all the charges set forth in the information, the charging document in this case. Bail will be set through stipulation of the parties at $100,000. That will be bondable. And in talking to the attorneys, it sounds like they would like to set this out for an arraignment at a later point in time. Mr. Finley, would you like to go ahead and articulate anything specific related to that?
Yes, Your Honor. As discussed in chambers, and I explained to Mr. Galden, even if it's set up for arraignment, say in 60 days, the court has made it clear through discussion with counsel, if there is a resolution well before then, we're welcome to come back before Your Honor at any point in the future.
Okay, very good. So we'll set Mr. Galden's arraignment out in about 60 days. That arraignment would take place through WebEx. We'll have Mr. Galden brought here to the courthouse, and then if Mr. Finley would like to appear remotely for that hearing, he may do so. Also, if the attorneys reach some sort of resolution prior to those 60 days expiring, then just reach out to Angie and we'll get that on my calendar in a timely fashion. Angie, a date about 60 days out for that arraignment on a Monday morning probably. July 1st, at what time? 9? Okay, so that would be July 1st at 9 a.m. or 1:30 p.m. Mountain Time, whatever you'd prefer.
Either one.
Okay, let's do 9 a.m. Does that work for the state?
It does, yes.
All right, Mr. Galden, your arraignment will be July 1st, 9 a.m. You'll be brought over from the Cache County Jail, assuming that you're still incarcerated. If not, you'd be able to appear remotely for that hearing as well, or appear in person, whatever your preference would be. Is there anything else that needs to be stated on the record here today, counsel?
On behalf of Mr. Galden.
Nothing further from the state.
All right, with that, we'll conclude this hearing. Court is adjourned.
Now, neighbor, I'll continue to bring you updates on NBA Youngboy. As always, neighbor, I'll ask you to subscribe to this channel. You can always like or comment. Share this content with your family and friends and let them know about your girl, your nosy neighbor. Neighbor, I'm going to continue to bring you updates on what's going on with NBA Youngboy. Okay? Now, as always, neighbors, I'll ask you to subscribe to this channel. You can always like or comment. Share this content with your family and friends and let them know about your girl, your nosy neighbor.